All right, so these are my Week 18 NFL Power Rankings for the 2024 season. I cannot believe we are already at the last week of the regular season. This season has gone by so fast, in my opinion. But let's get started here into the video. So starting off with our injuries, there's not a whole lot to talk about here because, a lot of the teams aren't really playing for anything. I still included a couple teams' injuries when they're not really playing for much, but there's a lot of minor injuries or something on teams that literally are playing for nothing, so I didn't really include those. But James Conner injured for this game. Sida Uzama tied in for the Eagles, going to be on IR. That's important because they'll be in the playoffs. Bengals are without Sam Hubbard for this game, which is a must-win game. Chase Brown and T. Higgins are also questionable for them, so that's pretty bad. If they cannot play, that'll be pretty bad in a must-win game. Tua Tagovailoa is out for the Dolphins in a must-win game. And the Browns are starting Bailey Zappi at quarterback here over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Not sure if he's really injured or he just kind of sucks, but I don't think Bailey Zappi has started a game all year, and he started maybe a couple games last year, I think. But yeah, he's getting his first start in over a year, so that's kind of worth noting. Next up, I'm going to talk about some of the resting, like teams that are resting players, and also like what to watch, like milestone wise and stuff. But for the Chiefs, Chiefs are resting their starters. Bills are resting most of their starters. They're going to play like a little bit, they said probably, but then going to rest them most way. Texans are also playing some of their starters, even though they're locked into the 4 seed. They might play some of their starters for just a little bit, like the Bills are, but they haven't really made an official word on that yet. Eagles resting most starters. The Rams are resting most starters. That's all I got to say about the resting portion, but I do want to mention that the Jets, this could potentially be Aaron Rodgers' last game. He talked about this earlier this week, I believe, that he does not know if he'll be playing in the NFL next year, and especially if he'll be playing for the Jets. The Colts also, this could potentially be Joe Flacco's last game. He is starting over Anthony Richardson, which is good because this could be his last game. I really hope that both those guys play another year because I'm not ready to say goodbye to those guys. But if they do play the last game this week, I hope they'll go out and ball out. Broncos. This is some playoff implication now to worry about. Broncos, if they win, they're in. Dolphins, if they win and the Broncos lose, they're in. And the Bengals, if they win, Broncos and Dolphins both lose, then the Bengals are in. So Bengals have a tough task there. Broncos are playing the Chiefs, who are resting their guys, so it looks really easy for them to be in. But if they somehow, for some reason, screw up and lose, Dolphins and Bengals both got a chance. The Bucks, they win, they're in. Also, Mike Evans only needs 85 yards to have his 11th consecutive 1,000-yard season. I think it's 11, something like that. And the Falcons, they needed a win and a Bucks loss to be in the playoffs. But yeah, that's it for that. Getting into our top performances of the week. You guys can mainly look at this yourself here. It's a lot to look at, so please take the time to do so if you feel so inclined. But yeah, going on with number 32, we got the Cleveland Browns, who are 3-13. They lost this week 20-3 versus the Dolphins, and now they're playing Bailey Zappi at quarterback, who's probably better than Dorian Thompson-Robinson because he really sucks. But the Browns are not a good team. Next up is going to be 31, the New Orleans Saints. They're 5-11, so definitely better record than some of these teams, but they're really bad. They lost this week 25-10 versus the Raiders. That's pretty sad. Spencer Rattler, not a good quarterback right now. I hope he can be good in the future, but so far this season he's been very bad. Number 30, Tennessee Titans are 3-13. They lost this week 20-13 versus the Jags, so I got to move them down here a couple of spots. Next up, 29, Jacksonville Jaguars. So they did beat the Titans, like I just said, 20-13. So they got to move up a couple of spots here, sitting at 4-12. Not a good team, but they did get a win this week. So that doesn't really help their draft position, but it does help their power ranking spot. 28, Chicago Bears. They're going to drop 2 spots, sitting here at 4-12. This team has lost 10 straight games. They were 4-2 at one point. That is very disappointing. For the Bears, they lost 6-3 versus the Seahawks. So very, very disappointing loss for them. Number 27, New England Patriots. They're going to drop 2 spots at 3-13 now. They got obliterated 40-7 versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 26, New York Jets. They're going to drop 2 spots. They got obliterated 40-14 versus the Buffalo Bills. And they were down 40-0 with Aaron Rodgers in at quarterback. And then they put Tyrod in the fourth quarter. And he got a couple of garbage touchdowns against his former team in the Buffalo Bills. 25 is going to be the New York Giants. They jump up 7 spots, even though they're still tied for the worst record in the league at 3-13. They played really good this week. They won 45-33 versus the Colts. Drew Lock had statistically one of the 10 best games in NFL history as a quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken there, but I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. He was absolutely insane. They dominated this game where they really did not want to win because it dropped them from the first overall pick down to the 4th overall pick. Number 24, Carolina Panthers are going to drop 1 spot here. They lost 48-14 versus the Bucs, so they got obliterated here as well. Number 23, Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to jump up 4 spots here actually after having a pretty convincing win, 25-10 over the New Orleans Saints. Number 22, Dallas Cowboys. They're going to drop 1 spot. Very, very big jump up here from these bottom 10 teams up to the Cowboys here. 7-9, respectable record at least. They did get blown out this week, 41-7 against the Eagles. They also cut Ezekiel Elliott, so hoping that he signs with a potential playoff team, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, he's probably not going to really do much anywhere if he does get picked up. Number 21, Indianapolis Colts. They're going to drop 2 spots here. Losing to the Giants 45-33 is certainly not a good look here for the Colts. And, it was a must-win game to keep their playoff hopes alive. And they obviously did not win it. Number 20, 49ers. They're going to jump up 2 spots, even though they did actually lose this week to the Lions, 40-34. But a 6-point loss versus the Lions is certainly respectable. So I got to move them up a couple of spots, given the circumstances of the teams around them. Number 19, Arizona Cardinals. They move up 1 spot too after they lost 13-9 versus the Los Angeles Rams. A close game versus the Rams, but still not very impressive at all, only putting up 9 points. Number 18, Houston Texans. They're going to drop 3 spots. Sitting at 18 and being the leader of your division, clinched division a while ago, it's not a good look for the NFC or the AFC South. They lost 31-2 versus the Ravens. They got a safety, but 0 offensive points is very, very disappointing. Number 17, Seattle Seahawks. They're going to drop 1 spot. Sitting at 9-7, already eliminated from playoff contention. It's kind of sad. I mean, they're a solid team. They won 6-3 versus the Bears, so not a good week this week, even though they did win. But they're going to finish with a winning record and miss the playoffs, so kind of feel for them there. Next up, Falcons at number 16. They're 8-8. They really blew this game. They were doing good against the Commanders. They were going into overtime, 24-24. Ended up losing 30-24 in overtime to lose control of the division to the Buccaneers. They're going to really need some help to get that division back this week. Number 15, the Miami Dolphins. They're going to jump up 3 spots. They had a good win against the Browns, 20-3, with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. So, Tyler Huntley's going to be quarterback this week as well in a must-win game to give him a chance at the playoffs. But he did good against the Browns this week. They put the Jets this week, so he could do good there as well. Number 14, Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to drop 4 spots. They're 10-6. They've lost 3 straight games here. This week they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, 29-10, I believe. I'm trying to find my notes. Yeah, they lost 29-10 versus the Chiefs. Ever since George Pickens got hurt, even though he did come back this week, their offense has just not been the same. Moving on to number 13, the Denver Broncos at 9-7. They're going to stay at the exact same spot. They did lose to the Bengals this week, 30-24 in overtime. So an overtime loss to the Bengals is nothing to be ashamed of, but it does put their playoff chances in jeopardy this week. Number 12, the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to drop 3 spots. They did beat the Cardinals, but it was a 13-9 victory. So it's certainly not an impressive win, but I will be dropping them 3 spots, even though they ended up winning their game this week. Number 11, Cincinnati Bengals. I'm actually going to jump them up 3 spots. They're easily one of the best, one of the better teams here in the league, in my opinion, especially for their record. 8-8 does not justify how good the Bengals are, in my opinion. They beat the Broncos 30-24 this week. But like I said earlier, T. Higgins and Chase Brown are questionable for this upcoming week. If they cannot play, that's going to make it really hard for them in a must-win game here this week against the Steelers. Number 10 is going to be the Green Bay Packers. They're 11-5. They're going to drop 3 spots after losing here 27-25 versus the Minnesota Vikings. They were down, I believe, 3 scores here in the fourth quarter. They ended up making it a 2-point game there at the end. So Props to them there. But overall, in this game, they did not look very impressive aside from that last few possessions where they made it a close game. Number 9, Los Angeles Chargers. They're going to jump up 3 spots. They dominated the Patriots 40-7. They're now sitting at 10-6 and fighting with the Steelers for the potential 5 seed here this week. Number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to jump up 3 spots after obliterating the Carolina Panthers 48-14. Baker Mayfield and this Bucs offense has been electric the last few weeks. Put up 40 on the Chargers, put up 48 today. I believe they had 40 last week too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they've been really good the last few weeks. Next up is the Washington Commanders. They're going to actually move up 11. Wait, hold up. No, never mind. They should have been number 8 last week, not number 18. So they just moved up 1 spot here. I knew that it didn't look right. But 11-5 here after having a good win against the Falcons, 30-24 in overtime. Number 6, it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings at 14-2. This does feel a little bit underrated for them, but I can't really move them up ahead of any of the teams ahead of them because all those teams won this week as well. But the Vikings are very, very good, and they beat the Packers 27-25 this week. Number 5, Baltimore Ravens, 11-5, so significantly worse record than the Vikings, but just the way I've been ranking them past weeks. And the Ravens also dominated the Texans 31-2 this week. I can't really drop them below the Vikings. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles at 13-3. They dominated the Cowboys 41-7 with Kenny Pickett at quarterback and Tanner McKee at quarterback for most of the second half as well. So backup quarterback doesn't matter. They're going to be playing Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee again this week, most likely. And they probably can get a win as well against the Giants. Number 3, Detroit Lions at 14-2. They beat the 49ers 40-34 this week. Not a dominating win by any means, but still very impressive. Getting to 14-2, 1 game away from the number 1 seed in the NFC. They play against the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football for a game to decide the number 1 and number 5 seed in the NFC. Number 2 is the Buffalo Bills at 13-3. They're doing really good. They dominated the Jets 40-14 this week. They've been dominant a lot of this season. Dominated the Jets 40-0 until they put some backups in, and then Tyrod Taylor dominated them a little bit. But Mitchell Trubisky also threw 1 pass for a 69-yard touchdown in this game. So, he looked pretty good as well. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 15-1, dominated the Steelers 29-10. They looked really, really good since getting Hollywood Brown back. This offense has been even better. This defense has always been great. They also activated Jalen Watson from IR, so he could potentially return for the playoffs. So they can get him back. That's going to be a scary team to face. No one wants to face this Chiefs team in the playoffs right now. 15-1, very, very good team right now. Now we're getting into my game picks. Last week I was 14-2 for a record of 178-78 on the season so far. I'm doing pretty good there. This week, some of these games, I would not really bet on a lot of these games because a lot of teams are resting guys, so it's kind of backups against maybe first strings or also just backups against backups, honestly, in some of these games. Ravens or Browns, it's going to be Ravens need to win this game to clinch their division, so they're going to dominate the Browns there probably. Bengals over Steelers. Steelers need to win to have a chance in their division as well, but I don't think it's happening. I think the Bengals are going to win that game because they need to win to have a chance for the playoffs as well. Packers Bears. Packers need to win because they could potentially move up to the 6th seed, so they're going to be playing all their guys. They should beat the Bears. Bucks need to win to clinch the playoffs. Saints are playing Spencer Rattler. Bucks should win. Bills Patriots. Bills are probably resting their guys, but I still think they beat the Patriots here this week. Eagles Giants. Eagles are resting their guys. Still think they beat the Giants. Falcons Panthers. Falcons need to win to have a chance for the playoffs. I think they'll get that win. But I think the Bucks will also get their win anyway, so the Falcons probably will go 9-8 and still miss the playoffs. Commanders, Cowboys. Commanders need to win to potentially get the number 6 seed still. They have the 6th seed currently over the Packers, but if they want to hold on to that, they need to win this week. Texans, Titans. Texans said they're going to be playing some of their starters, even though they clinched the 4th seed. I'm going to take them to win that game. Colts, Jags, doesn't matter, but I'm going to take Joe Flacco in his potentially his last game of his career. Broncos, Chiefs. Chiefs are playing nobody. Broncos need to win to secure a playoff berth. They should win this game. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers could potentially move up to the number 5 seed over the Steelers, so they should be playing all their guys. They should beat the Raiders pretty easily. Jets, Dolphins. Dolphins need a win to have a chance for the playoffs, but they're starting Tyler Huntley, and I think Aaron Rodgers, in what is potentially his last game of his career, will go out and win this game. Seahawks, Rams is my lock of the week. Rams are playing Jimmy Garoppolo. Seahawks they're eliminated from the playoffs, but they're playing their starters. At least they haven't said they're not playing their starters, so I would assume they're going to beat the Rams backups there. Cardinals, Niners. Niners are starting Josh Dobbs, I believe, maybe Brandon Allen, one of those guys. Not Brock Purdy though, so I'm gonna take the Cardinals here in this game. The Vikings, Lions for the division for the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm actually gonna take the Vikings to upset the Lions. The reasoning there is the Lions beat them last time, and I don't think the Vikings are gonna lose both games to the Lions this year. But that is going to be it for that. Going to my award races. I don't want to talk too much about this, but I'm just going to give you the top guy in every category. Josh Allen leading the MVP. Pat Surtain is now leading Defensive Player of the Year. Jaden Daniels is leading Offensive Rookie of the Year. Kevin O'Connell is leading Coach of the Year. Saquon Barkley is leading Offensive Player of the Year. Sam Darnold is leading Comeback Player of the Year. And Jared Verse is leading Defensive Rookie of the Year. Other than that, you guys can look at this list yourself. And that is going to be it for the video. Make sure to check back for next week for an updated end of season power rankings list. And I'm going to have a lot of other videos coming out this week with my looking back on my record predictions, looking back on my MVP predictions, my playoff predictions, and a whole lot of videos coming out this week. Make sure to keep a watch out for those.